What's up, guys? I'm Devin Harrington, the average Gen Xer. Welcome back to the channel. Wishing everyone a happy new year. And I wanted to tell you I had every intention of putting this video out last night because Sunday night is usually when I post. And as you know, it was New Year's Eve, and here in Texas, it's perfectly legal for the average moron to go out and buy all kinds of fireworks. So I had neighbors on either side of my house lighting fireworks off last night from the time the sun went down until after midnight, and my dogs were losing their entire minds. It was a mess. My dogs were scared, they were shaking, they were hiding in the closet. So happy New Year to everyone. And we have said goodbye to 2023 and welcoming in 2024, looking at what we want to accomplish this coming year. As you can probably guess, here in the US, the top New Year's resolution for people who make New Year's resolutions is losing weight and or improving fitness. So today we're going to look at some content from some folks who probably are not making New Year's resolutions to lose weight, and that is the fat acceptance creators on TikTok. But I wanted to say a couple things before we get to that. So if you just want to skip to the cringe reaction on this video, go to this timestamp. But if you're going to stick around and listen to me babble, I wanted to tell you about this super cool free thing that I found to help you set goals for the new year. If you have watched any of my content, you know I'm a big self-improvement junkie. And so I was watching the Mel Robbins podcast. Most people know who Mel Robbins is. Mel Robbins, she's quite famous. And she and her team put out a free little workbook called Make 2024 Your Best Year. Full disclosure, this video is not sponsored by Mel Robbins or anyone else. Mel Robbins does not know me from a hole in the wall. She certainly does not need my help in getting people to download her free workbook because she has one of the top podcasts in the world and is a globally famous self-improvement author and speaker. So I'm just sharing something that I thought was cool, and I will link the workbook below if you want to check it out. But my favorite part of this workbook is that she goes into something called the Start, Stop, Continue business transformation model. So if you want a quick way to set some goals for the new year, this is what you do. You make a list of things you want to start doing in 2024, things you want to stop doing, and things that have been working for you that you want to continue doing. And so once you have a few items on each of those three categories, you pick just one from each list, and voila, there's your top three goals for the new year. So I made my lists, and then I chose the most important item in each category. And I usually tell stories from back in the good old Gen X days on this channel. But in lieu of that, I'm going to share my top three goals for the new year on this video. So my goals for 2024, I want to stop hitting the snooze alarm on my phone. Like a lot of people, I have the phone as my alarm clock. It's right next to me on the nightstand. The alarm goes off every day. I just hit snooze, snooze, snooze. I work from home, so I tend to get up like right before I have to go to work, and it's not a good way to start the day. So instead, I'm going to put the phone across the room, and when the alarm goes off, and this is another Mel Robbins thing, when the alarm goes off, instead of ever hitting snooze, you just get up. And Mel Robbins has a book called The 5 Second Rule. Really, really popular self-help book. Again, not sponsored in any way by Mel Robbins. I just think she's really cool. And, my little audience might not know about these things. So I just want to share. So if you are trying to get yourself to do something like get out of bed in the morning, you think in your head, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you get up. It sounds really simple. It sounds stupidly simple, but it actually does work. And if you want to read her book, she's got all the science behind why this little 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 thing works. So that's what I'm doing. I'm putting the phone across the room and I am getting up as soon as the alarm goes off. She also talks a lot about this. There's all kinds of science behind why it's bad to hit the snooze alarm. How it negatively affects your brain, how it makes your brain go back into a sleep cycle. And that is also, there's plenty of science out there on that, if you want to check that out. And she also goes over that in her book as well. So I am going to get up when the alarm goes off, turn the alarm off, not look at the phone. I'm going to sit down at this very desk, which is where I do my writing and meditation. I do have like a morning writing and meditation practice. And as it's gotten to the end of 2023, I've really, there's a whole bunch of excuses as to why I got out of the habit, but I got out of the habit. So I'm going to start doing that again. That's my stop. Stop hitting the snooze alarm. Stop keeping the phone next to the bed, because it just invites you to have this bad habit of the alarm going off. And after you hit snooze a few times, you pick the phone up and you start scrolling. And that's a terrible way to start your day. So there's my stop. My start falls right in with the average person wanting to lose weight in the new year. And if you've watched any of my content, you know that I have struggled with sugar addiction since I was a kid. I have been medically obese, but I've never been like hugely, massively overweight. But when you spend your life trying to lose that 20 to 25 to 30 to 40 pounds, it's just as much of a struggle. I mean, it may not be the same physical struggle as having hundreds of pounds to lose, but it is just as much the mental struggle. So along with falling out of the habit of getting up, not looking at the phone, and doing my meditation in the morning, I've also fallen out of the habit of eating clean. And so that I have to start again. And I have really fallen back into sugar addiction pretty hard this holiday season. It's kind of been a mess. And for me, it always starts with like, oh, it's Thanksgiving, so I'm going to have dessert. And that's fine. No big deal. And then it progresses to, oh, it's the Christmas season. And look, this stuff is on sale. So I'm going to buy the Christmas tree shaped peanut butter cups, and it just devolves into eating more and more and more junk, and my brain finding like more and more lame excuses for eating more junk. For me, it really is about wanting to have decadence and pleasure. And, that may apply when you're just having dessert at Thanksgiving dinner, but then by the time you get down to like eating all of the cookies out of the cookie jar that belong to your roommate that aren't even yours, that's not about decadence and pleasure. That is about addiction. And when you're doing something that you don't want to be doing, and I don't want to eat junk food. I'm on this channel all the time talking about how evil fast food and junk food is. And I don't eat fast food, but I definitely have a problem with the junk food. And so once I start, it just becomes a complete mess. It's like my sugar addiction. I liken it to like having a toxic boyfriend that keeps coming back no matter how many times you break up with them. And I have broken up with sugar any number of times in my life. I mean, thousands, hundreds of thousands of times. So sugary junk food and processed food like bread, for example, is very processed unless you're making it yourself. And even then, I just have one of those brains where the carbs just light my brain up, and there is no reasonable portion size for me. So I really want to quiet that shit down in my head. Anyway, so start eating clean again is my start. And that will proceed into, letting go of the junk food and letting go of processed food. Anyway, finally, onto the continue. My continue is I'm going to continue working on this little channel here and focus on consistently making the kind of content that really lights me up, that I like to talk about, that, sharing stuff like this could be helpful to someone else. And that's the kind of stuff I like to talk about on this channel. I am definitely keeping my three topics of conversation, which are being child-free and the child-free movement, anti-fat acceptance, which encompasses anti-fast food and stuff like this, eating clean, blah, blah, and then self-love is my third topic. And I've so far just put out one video regarding self-love. So hope you will check that out. But I'm going to continue doing that. So there's a little goal setting trick for you this New Year's Eve. And many thanks to Mel Robbins and her team for the free workbook. Check it out at the link below if you're interested. And speaking of the tragedy of sugar and processed food addiction, let's look at some fat talk madness and hope that these content creators will wake up to reality this year and realize the error of their ways.
Nothing wrong with my body.
Oh God, it's the song. The song has been around for a while, and it is the cringiest cringe that ever cringed. And the comments, I guess you can't see the comments on this TikTok, but it says, "This is such a powerful, beautiful song. Wow." It's literally a song about how great it is to be fat and how you should love your body no matter what it looks like. And that is true. You should love your body no matter what it looks like, but you should also love your body and take better care of it and strive to be better than what you are. This movement has just been co-opted. Oh, I guess you can see the comments. Duh. I mean, you're singing a fucking girly folk song about being fat. It's ridiculous.
If my body tells me something, I will make sure it is heard.
Yeah, it's telling you that you're overweight, and that is not healthy. I mean, some of these girls on here, like this girl here, she's not grossly overweight, but some of them are, and your body's trying to tell you that you need to stop eating junk food and fast food, processed food.
If my body is a vessel, I will give it what it needs.
Gross. No, it does not need pizza. You don't need to eat most of what you eat. You don't need, nobody in the world, okay, nobody in the world needs to eat fast food. No human on earth needs to eat processed food. Now, we do live in the 21st century, and for a lot of people, that is all that's available to them, but that still doesn't mean that you need to gorge yourself to the point of being this size. That is just unacceptable. It used to be unacceptable. And when I talk about how I was relentlessly fat shamed as a kid for being like 20 pounds overweight, that wasn't good. Fat shaming is not good for anyone. I mean, if you see somebody out on the street who's really overweight, mind your fucking business. Don't talk shit to them. But as far as talking online and having conversations about, current trends in human development, this is not okay. Yes, everybody should love their body. Everybody should think highly of themselves. Everybody should demand that they treat themselves well. But eating pizza and shoving your face full of ice cream is not what your body is asking for.
I will not betray my body no matter what they think.
Yeah, okay. So this is so sad. Nobody looks like this without eating processed garbage. And I am not into extremism in any way. I don't think that everybody should eat a raw vegan diet. I mean, that's just not practical. In a perfect world, yeah, nobody would eat fast food, nobody would eat processed crap, but this should be unacceptable. This should be like her looking this way is fine. It's nobody's business what she looks like. And she should love herself just as she is. But then you got to go the extra step and work on yourself, work on improving yourself, because all of this fat is not healthy. Especially, you see, there's like this whole trend now with the showing the belly and all this stuff. And some of these people, the fucking gut hanging off of them weighs more than I do, which is saying something. And that is so grossly unhealthy. I don't understand how we got here, really. But, it's a TikTok trend. So hopefully it will fade away and none of us will have to make this kind of content anymore.
There's nothing wrong with my body. Fat is not a dirty word.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with your body as long as you're working to improve it. Okay, so
if my body is
this girl here, she's doing some aerial workout. So good for her. Good for her. But wanting to stay this size on purpose? No, that's not where it's at.
I will make sure it is heard. If my body is a vessel, I will give it what it needs. I will not betray my body no matter what they think. There's nothing wrong with my body. Fat is not a dirty word.
I'm fat. Of course I know it's unhealthy and taking years off my life.
Good.
The entire point. I'm fat. Of course it's genetic. Addiction runs in the family. I'm fat. Of course I spend more money on plus-size clothes. There's hella more fabric. So what? I'm fat. Of course I'm happy. The world's ending and I got a first-class ticket. I'm fat and of course I'm healthy. My doctor knows damn well I'd sue him if he said anything otherwise. I'm fat, but of course I don't have any health problems. Always out of breath and it's hard to do things, but that's because of fat phobia. The doctor's not listening to me. It has nothing to do with the fact that my fupa restricts my movement. I'm fat. Of course I'm doing the best I can and you shouldn't say shit. Because otherwise I'd make the choice to be skinny. I'm fat. Of course I attribute my healthy blood work to my weightlifting, avocados, spurg lettuce, and peanut butter because I benefit from fat privilege. Which means I haven't lived long enough in reality to know that most health problems come on suddenly without warning. I'm fat.
Okay, that's cute. I mean, she's not wrong, so whatever. I know she's being sarcastic, but whatever. Good for you, girl.
My loves, I am here to remind you that if you have a tummy like mine, and you are happy, and you are healthy, and you're kind, it's not a problem. It's really not a problem, and you deserve radical self-love and acceptance.
Yeah, you do, and you deserve to be eating better and working out so that you can lose some of your body fat if you want to. If you want to. It's not an either or. You don't get to be kind and happy and having a lovely life or being skinny. You can be both. Or being fit. You can be both. It's like this black and white thinking that has taken over that There's one video where this girl is saying, "I would rather be fat than mean. I would rather be fat than unhappy," as if she loved herself enough to take better care of herself and lose weight and eat better, so she has better mental health, because sugar and junk food and fast food all contribute to mental health. Let's not try and pretend otherwise. I have been a sugar junkie my whole life. I know that my mental health tanks when I'm eating crap, and all of those chemicals do nothing good for the brain. So let's get with reality here. But you will be happier if you love yourself and work to improve your physical and mental health. There is no way you will not be happier.
This is your friendly fat reminder to tell you that this right here, actually, it's not called a fupa. This is a belly. And I'm a big bitch who weighs over 300 pounds, and I happen to have a big belly. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes, there is something wrong with that. Why do you weigh over 300 pounds? Nobody weighs over 300 pounds without eating fast food and processed food. Nobody. And she's young. Look how young she is. So she's got to be in her 20s. So she has not started to really suffer from this. Does she want to have kids? What does she think that belly's going to look like after she has kids? Does she want to do anything in the world that requires physical exertion? Does she want to hike? Does she want to work out? I mean, maybe she does work out, but this is not okay, being over 300 pounds. There is something wrong with that. I mean, she could be 6 feet tall. She does look pretty tall, so that's probably why she doesn't really look like a 300-pound person or a 300-pound woman, but there is something fucking wrong with you if you think that that's okay to be 300 pounds. No human should be 300 pounds. If you just got into your head that it's not okay to be like that, that's the only reason I think that I did not end up being a 300-pound person. Because it was completely unacceptable. I mean, back in the day, in the 80s and 90s, weighing over 150 as a woman, like, that was something to be ashamed of. And I'm not saying shame is, we should be shaming people, or don't shame anyone to their face, really. I mean, just mind your business in public. Don't, people that these fat people that claim that people are saying horrible things to them when they're out in public. I mean, come on, be nice to everybody. But online here, somebody has to be telling this girl that, no, there is something wrong with being 300 pounds. You don't need to be 300 pounds. You don't have a belly like that because you're eating chicken and broccoli. I mean, come on. You're obviously drinking the Starbucks drinks and eating fast food, and, she's young, she's probably out partying, and that's all well and good, but God, moderation, people. What happened to moderation?
And there's nothing wrong with being fat.
Oh!
This is your friendly fat reminder to tell you that this...
It never fails that
this girl. What is her name again? Hannah Talks Bodies. Oh, and I think she's a therapist too. Jesus.
Time I talk about my eating disorder or all the things I used to do to lose weight, at least
you have beautiful skin, Hannah.
At least one person will pop their head out of the ground just to say, you can lose weight in a healthy way. It doesn't need to be so extreme. And I don't know how else to explain that for me and for many, many other people, that is simply untrue. Because the second I start ignoring my body's cues, it's over. The instant my body tells me it is hungry and I choose either not to feed it or to underfeed it, which is what a calorie deficit is.
Oh, Jesus Christ. A calorie deficit is not underfeeding yourself. I mean, really? A couple hundred less calories a day would really kill you, Hannah? I mean, come on. Look, I get she's saying that she has probably binge ED, And if she doesn't eat when she's hungry, then that sets her up for a binge. And that I can understand. But is she really eating because she's hungry? Because her stomach is growling? That's what hunger is. When your stomach is growling and starting to feel like it's digesting itself, that's when you're hungry. Not when your brain thinks, ooh, I'm craving McDonald's. Let me go get some. That's not hunger. And underfeeding yourself in a way that is Anna is not the same thing as a calorie deficit. You're not going to drop dead by eating a few less 100 calories a day.
It knows it's time for famine. It goes into scarcity mode. It thinks I don't have access to food. And as a result, my body turns on all the alarms to try to get me to eat as much as humanly possible so that I can survive this famine.
No, honey. No. No, that's not what's happening. If you would step yourself down, if you really kept track of your calories and ate whole foods and didn't eat processed junk and didn't eat sugar and didn't drink soda and didn't eat fast food, and you dropped it down to a few hundred less calories a day, even just like 100 less calories than you're used to eating. And this is like way too much math for most people. But even just putting, 3/4 of what you normally would on your plate, moderation, bit by bit by bit, you can step it down. Your body's not going to go into famine mode. This is just more excuses so you can eat whatever you want.
And I want you to imagine what it's actually like to go through your day with your body screaming at you that it's starving, and you just have to pretend that that's not happening. It's consuming all of your thought space and all of your energy, but you...
Yes, I know what that is like. And that is what it used to be like back in the day, in the 80s, when we thought that dietary fat, was what made you fat. And so everything was low fat this and low fat that and fat free this. And I would eat, I remember I would take to school for lunch. So I would have fat free milk and cereal, like gross, Special K or whatever, which is nothing, which is carbs, which is just going to set your brain up to crave more food. That would be breakfast. And then I would go to school and I would have a Diet Coke for lunch because nobody drank water back then. Diet Coke, and I would eat wassa bread with a little bit of peanut butter on it. So everything low fat, and dietary fat is what makes you feel satisfied and full. So if you are eating low fat and stuff is packed with more sugar to make it palatable, then yeah, your body's going to be screaming. And it's not your body screaming, it's your brain. Your brain is screaming for more food because your brain is wanting that hit of dopamine that it gets from sugar and carbs.
You just have to pretend it's not real. There is no way to casually pursue weight loss when you're in that state. The behaviors have to be extreme because it's an extreme situation. So when people talk about how weight loss is not an option for them or weight loss is harmful for them, just believe them. Just take them at their word.
No, because you're full of shit, Hannah. If you ate high protein and high healthy fat, you would not have your brain screaming for carbs and sugar. And you don't have to do anything extreme to lose weight. Nobody is telling you to lose 100 pounds in the next 2 months. This isn't my 600-pound life. Although if she keeps going the way she's going, I mean, she's probably... she's got a master's degree, so she might be late 20s, 30s. And I'm saying that because I'm thinking of how old she would have to be to go through school long enough to get a master's degree. But she looks, let's say, early 30s. Where's this going to get you? This is what I want to ask all of these fat positive content creators. Where is this going to get you in 20 years? Because I'm 53 years old, I was just your age 5 minutes ago, and it goes by like that. And I hate to sound like the old broad, preaching at the younger generation, but it's not going to be pretty. The way I struggled at just over 200 pounds and 5 foot, almost 5'5", it was unbelievably difficult. It was so physically uncomfortable having to hold my breath to tie my shoes. And once you get up past 35 and 40, your body starts packing on the visceral fat. And it's just going to be a fucking disaster for these people. I wish they would wake up. You don't have to do anything extreme to lose weight. And I mean, I'm saying that as someone who has struggled with sugar addiction and binge eating my entire adult life. And the times that I have been able to stay away from sugar, stay away from junk food, and just eat whole foods and have that quietness in my mind where I'm not constantly looking for the next dopamine hit, because that's all that is. That's your brain wanting the dopamine kick that it gets from sugar and carbs. And the human race did not evolve eating that way. Nobody looked like this until the past 60 years. This is just what has happened since, I'm going to say it, since fast food became widely available. It's fucking pathetic. You don't have to do anything extreme to lose weight. I mean, I personally really love the intermittent fasting thing, and I'm not going to go into that right now, but I wish all these people would try intermittent fasting just so they could really feel what hunger actually feels like. This girl is not eating when she's hungry. She's eating when her brain tells her, I want a kick of dopamine, so give me some carbs. I would bet that's what she's doing.
I'm truly loving how the fat acceptance movement allows people to grow, because it's not only teaching people that...
Yeah, it's allowing people to grow. That's for sure, Hannah. I love your blue hair, by the way.
Health and body size are not direct corollaries, which is true, but also
her blue hair looks beautiful with her blue eyes.
Bigger point, which is that health is not a requirement for people to be deserving of respect or equality. We hear this...
No, you don't have to be healthy to deserve basic respect out in public. I mean, respect out in public means fucking mind your business and ignore everybody. I want these people to carry a camera around and show me where you're not getting respect because of your weight.
Issue come up all the time in conversations around fatness where people say things like, well, so long as you're healthy, which is basically to say that if a fat person does not have the privilege of health, then they deserve abuse and discrimination, whereas I, as a healthy fat person, don't, which is just nonsense. Understanding this is important.
You're right. That is nonsense. Nobody deserves abuse and discrimination, okay? Let's just make that very clear. Out in public, mind your fucking business. Leave people alone. Let them be who they are. If they're really overweight, that's not your business, and life is kicking their ass enough. They don't need your help. But here, on the interwebs, people can say whatever they want. And they're not giving you shit, Hannah, because your weight is unhealthy. I mean, it is a form of extremism to be obese. And it is a form of extremism that you get that way because you have eaten an extreme amount of processed garbage. Because nobody gets this fat from eating fruit, vegetables, and meat. You know, it just doesn't happen. You're this way because you're binging on sugar, or not even binging. Your normal way of eating includes too much sugar, too much processed carbs, too much fast food. And that's a form of extremism. That's my opinion. It's a form of extremism, and it's human nature to shy away and to be repelled by forms of extremism.
Important because it's extremely tempting in the face of prejudice to cling to the health that we experience and try to present it as a representation of our moral value in an attempt to try to alleviate some of the pain that fat phobia brings. But when we do that, we are unintentionally, or sometimes intentionally, taking fat people who do not experience health and throwing them under the bus. I'm truly...
Oh my God, she's like the queen of word saladness. Just on and on and on with the word salad. The fat phobia. If there is such a thing as fat phobia, then it's a phobia of the extremism of obesity. And I am my weight because of what I put in my mouth. All the choices I have made of what to eat equals this body right now. So that applies to everyone else too. And when someone sees someone who is really overweight, that tells you that they have made extreme choices, and people are repelled by extremism in all forms. It's just human nature.
Truly loving how the fat acceptance movement allows.
Oh, stop. But I love your blue hair.
Body positivity has encouraged so many people of all sizes to feel
I love this girl's Scottish accent.
comfortable in their bodies, which is obviously positive. We all deserve to feel respected and have dignity. But I'd like for us to admit that straight-sized bodies look to be more and more represented in this space at the expense of seeing other body types, like the fat bodies that was originally created to center and advocate for. So here I am to take up space in this movement, a cleanse for your body positivity feed, if you will, showing off my belly, my back rolls, my thighs, physical features I am oppressed for, vilified for, and hated for. I am body positive.
Yeah, but you're not, because you treat yourself in a way that has gotten you to this size, and you're okay with that. You have not said that you're trying to, this girl's name is Hannah as well. Hannah, you have not said that you are working on yourself, that you love yourself enough to lose some of this weight. Imagine how different she would feel if she lost 40 pounds. I lost 40 pounds and it is a freaking different world. It doesn't take much on the average woman's frame to relieve so much of what comes with this extra weight. I mean, good for her that she's got the balls to dance around in her underwear on TikTok. But again, she's young. And what is she going to be doing in 20 years when she looks back at this? Maybe she's had a few kids by then. She's going to have diabetes, probably. She's going to have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, all the shit that comes along with being overweight. And even when I always tell people that I was just over 200 pounds, which is like nothing compared to the folks that get on TikTok and make this kind of content, but I was already high cholesterol, and I had never had high cholesterol in my life, and I had never had high blood pressure, and my blood pressure was starting to creep up every year. I would go and get the reading done and stuff. I mean, it takes time for the body to break down under this kind of weight, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You think you're going to be dancing around in your underwear when you're 60? Being happy with the next 100 pounds that you're going to gain if you don't change your habits? I am not advocating for anybody. I mean, who am I? I'm nobody. I'm some old broad ranting on the internet. But I'm not advocating for anyone to go on a diet. I am advocating for people to just change your habits. And I say that as someone who used to get up and shoot heroin for breakfast and live on sugary junk food. Habits can be changed, and the body will fall in line with your habits. We are all, our physical self is the sum total of our daily habits. So if you can just start changing one little thing and get consistent with that, just quit the soda, quit the coffee drinks. I mean, here I am drinking black coffee. Me, someone who drank sugary, super sweet, ridiculously cream sugar flavored garbage coffee for decades. I finally, in the past couple of years, finally got myself to just drink black coffee. So any habit can be changed. It's just a habit. And your body is going to reflect what you have changed.
Body positivity.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I really hate the fact that to be fat and accepted in society, what happened? I really hate the fact that to be fat and accepted in society, I have to over-feminize myself all the time. Interesting. No one thinks that. Be you. You don't get it. You just don't get it.
I'm a party girl and I'm just warning you. You don't get it, you just don't get it.
Okay. You have to over-feminize yourself. Why would that be? I mean, just from a human nature standpoint, you've got all this extra weight on yourself, so you are already over-feminized with your curves. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Okay, belly dance, fucking badass. Such a great workout, too. And good for these ladies for shaking it. But what this text box is saying up here, stop treating large body size as an epidemic. This is discrimination. It is an epidemic. It's an epidemic because in the past 50 or 60 years, fast food and processed food has infiltrated on nearly every corner of the world. People drink soda instead of water. People eat fast food instead of whole foods. That is an epidemic. And the body is just going to reflect whatever habits we have, as I just freaking said in my TED Talk.
So you want to hear my hot take on plus size travel?
Nope, because you have not thought about this for more than 30 seconds. I'm not going to do what everybody else did and attack how big she is, because I really don't give a fuck. If you're overweight and you want to stay overweight, more power to you. By the way, if you're one of the people that wants to change the way that you look rather than the way that the world operates, you can hire a coach like me. But anyway, let's think about this logistically. Let's say that we wanted to increase the size of seats on airplanes. That means either the airplane would have to get bigger or there would be less seats on each plane. Traveling by plane is already expensive and obnoxious as fuck. Imagine how much worse it would be. Okay, so we can't change every seat. We just have to offer the option for a bigger seat. We already have that. There's bigger seats on airplanes. There's first class. Oh, but Josh, they're more expensive. I want it to be the same price. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because then somebody like me who can fit in a normal seat has zero incentive to sit in a normal seat. I'm just going to buy the big first class seat that's cost the same. The reality is that everybody has the ability to fly in a plane. Some people just have it worse. Let's say you have some disease and you need to carry medication or special medical equipment with you. You have to pay extra to get that shit on the plane, or at the very least, spend a lot more time going through the TSA. That sucks, but you have to do it. Let's say it's not even physical, it's a mental disorder, and you're just extremely prone to anxiety attacks or crowded spaces or something like that. If you want to fly, you have to figure out the accommodations for that. People in wheelchairs, sure, they get to board the plane first, but it's still really fucking difficult for them to fly. So here's my final take of the day. Some people get dealt a really shitty hand in life. It's important that we develop the infrastructure so that those people can go do the things that normal people like me can. It does not mean that you are going to have as easy a time doing it as I am or anybody else, but it does mean that you can go do it. And you know what? If anybody has a solution for anything that I mentioned in this video, go ahead and let me hear it. Because if you can figure out a cost-effective way to get bigger people to fly, that's great for bodybuilders too.
So you want to hear...
Ooh, amen, sir. A freaking men. And J-Bay, we can't even with you. We cannot even. Okay, that's all I got for you today, folks. Gonna leave it there. I will see you in the next video.